Hey guys, welcome back to the Sniper Chronicles. Today we're coming back at you with another Ratchet video. Okay, we have something a little bit maybe you might call obscure in the States. It's a gray Ratchet from Canada, which I don't think we see too many of these around. But they are from Canada, and I don't know. I've heard a lot of good things about this brand. It seems like more of an industrial brand. But before we jump into any of this, can you please give me a like and also subscribe to this channel if you find any of this at all interesting or maybe even a little bit entertaining. Okay, here is the Ratchet. This is gray Canada. The number here looks like S69, and in the middle it looks like a little Canadian maple leaf there, and on this side is a 7, and this is a 3/8 drive. It's a round head. I think I did a review of a gray a while back. It was a box head model, and that one was a 1/2-inch drive. So this is one of their round head drives, or round head ratchets with a 3/8 drive. And here's a look at the handle. The handles look, I don't know, kind of like pretty rough. I don't say rough, but kind of very utilitarian. Not very, I would say the lines are very graceful. Just seems kind of to use some colorful language, looks kind of brutish. This kind of layout and the way this was formed. I mean, it seems pretty heavy duty, but not very elegant. I guess the word would be. The handle, you see here, it kind of flares out, becomes bigger towards the end, and then there's this middle bump here, and no letters on the underside. And that's a look at the outside, and the letters look okay. Not sure if this was just how it came out, or if that's a little bit of use, but I'm leaning towards that. That's how this Ratchet was pretty much made. Okay, let's open it up. This has the coil ring, and I already pre-gamed it by opening it up a little bit just to make it a little bit easier. And it has the coil ring that about 95% of round head ratchets have, and this is what that looks like. And you just push in on the anvil and the mechanism pops out, and here's a look inside the head on the teeth. Not sure how many teeth this are, but let's say maybe like in the 40s, 40-ish, 40-ish teeth, 40 something, 42, 45. Not too bad. The teeth, the broaching looks okay. Here are the walls. See a little bit more of the teeth there. There is a cutout on this side, on the switch side there, and over here is just flat pretty much, except for I guess they made a little chamfer on the teeth there on the ends, but looks okay. Here's the mechanism, It's usual fare. The old SK style design, the pawl, the teetering pawl, 3 teeth per side on this pawl. Not bad. The fit and finish is pretty good. The tolerance seems pretty good. The tolerance between the cutout and the pawl seems pretty nice. Here is the channel there for the ring. There's what it sits in. And to take this apart, you're not going to be able to get the plunger underneath this part, which I usually use when I take these apart, and I'll show you why in a minute. So what I do is I just whatever pawl is up, I squeeze it down, and then I just shimmy it out straight without putting the plunger underneath here, and I get it underneath here, this little part. And when you shimmy it out, be careful, try to cover up the holes or the escape routes for the plunger that's gonna pop out if it pops out. But this one wasn't too froggy, I guess. And here is the plunger, and the plunger is hollow, and it's a spring inside of it, and I'll just keep that in there since it's full of schmutz and grease. I'll just keep that in there. But one thing to note here is you see the dimples here. Dimples here on the plunger on both sides, and that is because I'll show you in a minute when I take out I'll get back to that. Here's the switch. This switch has a little protrusion on the end here, and that keeps the switch from going all the way around. Like I was trying to put the plunger underneath this spot, it won't let me do that because it stops the switch at a certain point. And yeah, and that is usually a good feature on these because of the abuse that the plunger takes with the dimples, and I'll show you that when I take the pawl out. Here's the pin for the pawl. Pin's a little bit thin, I think, for my liking. It looks, I mean, it serves, but it seems a little thin. That's the hole it comes out of. And here's the pawl. The pawl looks kind of familiar in that it has this Y on it, and I've seen that in other ratchets and some Taiwan ratchets. So I'm not sure if they imported parts for this to put together, like I guess a lot of American ratchets were doing. Stanley, most notably, was kind of playing fast and loose with parts and naming their ratchets USA when maybe it wasn't all USA, and I think they got in trouble for that. I could be wrong, but I think there was some sort of ruckus about that when Stanley was naming their ratchets USA when actually maybe some parts were USA, but most of it was Taiwan or overseas. Okay, right here talking about the dimples and the plunger. And what happens is that you see here on the sides, and you can see it's been hitting a lot of the dimples being there. It hits against this, and eventually what happens is the dimples will get pretty deep, and it will get stuck on the edge there. When it's supposed to, the plunger is supposed to protrude more, it'll get stuck there, and that'll kind of mess up the ratcheting action and make it kind of bad. But kind of some of the fix that they tried was they put this the protrusion on the switch there, and you can see if you can see it there. It hits the side there and keeps it from going around because of this cutout here. It keeps the switch from going around, and in turn that helps the plunger because the plunger doesn't hit those sharp edges there. See, but on this one, I don't know if this came from the factory like this or it was deformed through use, but if we look at this protrusion here, we can see some marks there. I think those dimples were caused by a lot of pressure switching, and it would hit those sides. It would hit those sides pretty hard, and with a good amount of pressure or torque, and it made those dimples, which probably should have been just solid, and it was causing the plunger to get hit on the side there, instead of it being like this where the plunger would not be hitting the edge through the deformity in the protrusion. You see that it's going past the edge there a little bit, and that's why we get the dimples. But hopefully it won't deform the plunger a lot. Like if it didn't have the protrusion at all, it would probably be even worse damage. But it doesn't seem too bad. I mean, it works as it should right now. And this is pretty much a collector's piece. I'm not gonna be putting this to its paces or any heavy work or anything. So I just want to point that out because that happens a lot in these ratchets, these round heads especially. And to put it all together, put your plunger in your hole on the switch, take your pawl, line it up with the hole, take your pin and stick it in the hole like that. Now take your switch with the plunger, and you want to get the plunger to where it's facing the pin, kind of like that. And now you take your tool and smash the plunger down, and it should be working and switching. Now you take your switch side and you put it where the cutout is and the letters, and maybe you want to mash down the pawl a little bit to get it in there. You take your ring, you get it around that groove a little bit, and now you start to mash it around the edge until it clicks into place like that. You test it out, see if it's ratcheting. It's ratcheting. Okay, so that's the teardown and review of the gray Canada S69, I believe. I think that's what the numbers are there. Gray from Canada, S69, Ratchet, round head. It seems tough, but a little crude. But not bad. It's not something you're gonna see that often, which I like. It's gray is kind of rare here in the States. I think they're still around. I think they're still making tools in Canada. So if you see one, pick one up, because they're not too readily available. Okay, guys. Until next time.